Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated, where today I'm just thrilled to death. This is a big one for me. I'm joined by actress Natasha Henstridge. So welcome, Natasha.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we've been talking. We had a whole interview before the interview.
We've already been talking for half an hour with no record.
My dumb ass has to remember to hit record.
I know everything about you. I know about your son's birthday. I've already done the accent from there. I mean,
I know. Do you want to wish him a happy birthday in the West Virginia accent?
See, now when you put the pressure on, it's different. See, when we were casually doing it, it's fun. And then suddenly I go into South Carolina as well. So that never works for anybody.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I won't put you on the spot.
Too late. I did it and I did it badly. So that's it. No West Virginia jobs for me.
See, we have this we're an untapped resource. Hollywood needs to come here and start, filming. They've done a little bit. They need to tap into this, this area. It's beautiful out here.
I know. I've heard. I've never been to West Virginia actually, but I've heard that the thing that people do, different states do, is they have tax credits, right? And I don't think West Virginia is part of the. That's why you hear about all these productions going to all these different states, and it has to do with tax credits. So it's definitely not a slight on West Virginia. I guarantee you, it is all about the money.
It's always about the money.
Yeah.
Come on, West Virginia. Let's get some.
Come on, join the group so I can come out there and film and have some fun. Yeah.
As soon as we're done talking, I'm getting on that.
Good, do it. We need it. We need more states. Or Canada's going to take all the work. Trust me.
So I bugged your people to death until they finally are just like, please just talk to Natasha and leave us alone. And here you are.
I told them, I was like, let me talk to them directly. Yes, I'm going to do it. Let me just talk to them directly so that you don't have to be involved in it. So you know what? Tenacious. I like that.
Hey,
I like that.
Sometimes I was very polite though. I tried to.
Of course.
I didn't want to bother them, but I really wanted you on the show.
Oh, I'm flattered. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So let's start here because I'm such a big fan of yours and have been for so long. But what made you want to get into the entertainment business? How did you get started?
So as a kid in school in junior high, loved theater, was doing plays at Keano College in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada. I was doing these little plays and I was in drama, and I was the not shy one who, like, my classmates were like, geez, give everybody else a chance, Natasha. I was like such a out there sort of person. And so I always loved the arts. Even before that, I loved playing around with painting and Play-Doh and anything in the arts. I always was my jam. So I loved theater. And then I had the opportunity to model, but I always wanted to act. And I thought, this is a cool opportunity to see the world and get out and travel and experience life and all of that stuff. And I knew it would lead me back into acting. That was the end goal. So left home really young to model, and sort of one thing led to another. I was doing a lot of TV commercials and stuff at that point. So it was a great opportunity for me to get into the film world and work with coaches and, all that kind of stuff.
All that fun stuff.
Stuff.
Did you play sports in school?
I did. Funny enough, even though I'm 5'10", I loved gymnastics. So I was always working on my floor routines and my uneven bars. And we're not talking on any major level here, okay? We're talking in junior high school and a little, I don't even know if I did it in high school. I think I was already too tall at that point. Volleyball I played in high school.
Yeah.
And
that would fit your height better.
Yeah. I played some basketball, not very good at it, but of course they wanted me because I was tall.
Of course.
But no, mostly it was the volleyball and the gymnastics, and played a bit of basketball, pretty crap at it, but gave it a shot.
Yeah. I think probably I'm trying to think back what the first thing I saw you, and it was probably Species, but it could have been you were in a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Maximum Risk.
Maximum Risk came after Species, though.
Okay, then it was Species, but I know there were several there where you worked with as a nerdy guy, you worked with people that I would go to those movies. So you did one with Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
You had the Jean-Claude, Maximum Risk, and then of course the Species films.
Adrenaline, Fear the Rush.
That's it. Adrenaline, Fear the Rush, because it had the hyphen.
Worst movie I ever did up until about 3 years ago, and I did one actually a tiny bit worse than that one. But yeah.
Oh, well, do you want to mention that one?
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to. I don't want to be that mean. But
how could you go wrong with you and the Highlander on the same movie? How could you go wrong?
Isn't it something? It's amazing what you can do with a really bad script.
Right.
It was fun to do, though. It was fun to do. We were filming in Slovakia, Bratislava, Slovakia, and Christophe, as they call him in Europe, Christophe Lambert, with his little French accent. He was only in they'd hired him for like about 3 or 4 days, and I was there for a month. So they were shooting out all of his scenes first. And then when it was my turn, I was working with like a tennis ball and like a C-stand. And so I was doing all of my lines. We would shoot him in his entire movie, all of the scenes completely out. And then we'd turn around when he left town after he got paid and he was gone. And then we'd shoot the rest with just a ball and somebody with a really strong accent trying to read his lines to me. So it was a bit of a challenge.
That could have been me. I could have been that somebody.
Could have totally been.
I could have been the tennis ball.
You could have been the talking human tennis ball. Yes.
Back then he was in so many movies, so it doesn't surprise me that he was just in and out.
Yeah, exactly. He was a super hot commodity, and absolutely. Great guy, nice guy. I really liked him a lot, though. Actually, wasn't his fault he got hired for 4 days. He just had good agents. I mean,
That's right. He was in and out.
Yeah.
So what was your first acting job or role when you switched over?
So I guess my first real gigs were TV commercials. I'd done a spot for Old Spice and Lady Stetson and Brut de Fabergé, like a French perfume company, and they were kind of like mini movies. Like some of them were like 3-4 days, and some of them, like the Brut de Fabergé thing was, I was playing a movie star in it, and it was 3 days. It was in France. So those were my first experiences in front of the camera in that regard.
Right.
And then my very first film. So I'd auditioned for a few things, but my first film was Species. And my first time in front of like filming was a screen test out here in Hollywood after the initial audition that I'd done 3 or 4 months prior. They flew me out to LA to do a screen test, and there's 3 other girls, and we're all getting our makeup done, and we're all getting ready for the screen test, all sitting in the room going, and I see faces that are familiar, and I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't even know how to act. I mean, I've only taken a few, lessons and whatever. So, but that was my first thing, was the screen test, and then getting the role and first day on set.
That's amazing, because it's. I could see where that role could be a lot of fun, because it was kind of a fun character, but that wasn't an easy role, I wouldn't think, especially for your first one.
It was a high pressure role because MGM had a lot riding on this. They really wanted to make some. They were spending a fair amount of money on this film, and they hired a lot of people, and they had Geiger or Giger, as people call them different things, but so there was a lot riding on it. Let's just say that. So there was high pressure in that way. What was more interesting and kind of cool about it is that, and I said this at the time that I was doing interviews, my experience and Syl's experience were very similar. We were both entering this new world of not knowing what to expect. And so in that way, you know what I mean? There was a lot of similarities between the character I was playing and being Natasha, like thrust into this world and that kind of thing. So there were similarities in that way. There was some nudity in the film. That, having come out of France, where everybody's topless all the time, and it's not even thought of. I lived in Paris for a couple of years, and it's just, families are hanging out at the beach, it's just a part of the culture there. And so being in the fashion world and I wasn't doing anything explicit, but there was lots of nudity and over the shoulder and this and that and holding,
Right.
and, all of that kind of stuff. I was kind of not that part for me wasn't a big freak out until the movie came out. Doing it wasn't a big deal for me. I was completely comfortable and not freaked out about doing it at all. And then the movie came out, and then it was a completely different scenario. Then it was
it was so big.
Focused on that so much. And I was like, oh, whoa, oh God, this is a thing. So yeah, that was kind of a surprise for me. Yeah.
Did your life change after the movie? Because it was a pretty instant hit, and then it kind of gained some like a cult following after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It absolutely changed within 3 or 4 days of that film coming out. Yeah. That quick, day and night, from going from maybe somebody looked at you because you were a cute blonde walking down the street to, oh my God, there's that girl. Oh, whoa. And being in the fishbowl within a week or 2 weeks of a film coming out, and literally feeling like you're in the fishbowl suddenly. Like, I love being the observer. I love watching people. I love that kind of thing. And suddenly I was the observed. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. I'm not a big fan of this, so it was a trip. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. Fans can be, I know, I'm one of them. We can be a lot. We can be a handful.
That's for sure. I'm dealing with something like that right now, actually. Yeah.
Not me though. That's not me.
No. I
just wanted everybody to know. Wasn't
Even
me.
Although you reached out 25 times to my people,
I did.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. 400 times.
400 times later.
I was like, look, just bring her on the show. I'll leave you alone. And
they're like, fine.
Was it different when they came back to you for Species 2? Was that conversation a little bit different than, when you were brand new to Hollywood?
Well, the truth of the matter is, once we negotiated the deal for the first one, we'd already done a 3-picture deal. So they had already locked me in for 3 pictures at that point. It was still kind of that studio system where they were, doing the 3-picture deals, and they were deciding when I moved to LA where I was going to live, because I wanted to live in Santa Monica near the beach so badly. Yeah, and they're like, too far. Nope, you got to be somewhere close to town. And it literally, so then the next coolest place was going to be where Joni Mitchell, Ladies of the Canyon, and like where all the people, Laurel Canyon. So I moved to Laurel Canyon. I was like, okay, cool. I'll do
Laurel Canyon. Yeah, it's so nice out there. Yeah, that's actually not too bad a place to.
It's super cool. It was.
I was going to say they were probably right. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just a beach person. So, and coming out of Manhattan, I've lived in New York, and it was just concrete jungle, and I was ready for that nature vibes again, so
yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same way. I've never lived at a beach, but I've always felt like that's where I should be. So maybe someday we'll
I love it.
Make it happen.
I know.
Were you a singer growing up at all?
I sang in junior, in some of these productions or whatever when I was younger. I would not say I was, I wasn't the leading. I did once actually get the lead thing in this performance, the Christmas performance, where I got to sing Silent Night and sign it. So it was going to be like a whole signing thing. And it was a big moment for me because I'd auditioned and I won this role. That was like a bit of a bigger role. Super jazzed, practiced my butt off, was so excited about it, and got sick as a dog the night of the Christmas concert. So I never got so sick, couldn't do it. They had to give the role to somebody else, to like the understudy. I mean, come on, this is like a junior high. But I always remembered, not getting to do that. I have sung in shows. I've sung in TV shows. They put me in the studio and they've made me sound okay.
Didn't you sing? Didn't you sing in Eli Stone? Didn't you sing?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
actually.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too. I really miss doing that show. I loved the cast, and I loved the premise, and it was so much fun to do. It was for us. I mean, we'd have choreographer and we'd be dancing, and then we'd be singing with George Michael the next episode, and then suddenly it's like, oh, Seal is coming on the show, and we're, I was married to a singer who was like, his dream come true would have been to sing with some of these people. And I'm like, okay, love you. Got to go to work. I'm going to sing with George Michael. sample today, and like, it was so cool.
See, I've got our next podcast endeavor. It's going to be Species the Musical, but we're going to do it as a podcast.
I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Are you going to write some of the songs for it?
Of course. You probably don't want that.
It's going to be opera. She's fun. I'm in a Christmas vibe today. So it's going to be like Spawn talk and alien talk, and I like it. Mixed with opera, mixed with rock and roll, kind of like Kinky Boots vibes in there too. What the hell?
See, it's already taken on a life of its own.
It's coming together.
Species to musical. I don't know who still has the rights to it, but they need to contact me. We'll make this.
I'm sure, probably still at MGM. Actually, funny you say that. I'm looking into that right now.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Into who has the rights, or into Species the musical?
Into who has the rights. Never thought about Species the musical, but thank you for the idea. I'll give you
Don't
credit.
steal it.
I'm looking into the rights because I have a cool project I'm working on with a friend of mine, and we might need the rights. We'll see. But,
that's awesome. Is it a graphic novel?
He has sworn me not to get into this kind of thing, and I can't wait because I'm so excited about the project. But
you have to come back now. I
have to come back, and once we pull it all together, then I'll be back. And trust me, I'll be begging to like promote the heck out of it. So
yeah. You know where to find me now. So you gotta come back. See, that's how good I've gotten at these interviews. I've already set up the next interview. You didn't even know it. You didn't even know it happened. It happened.
Who's been your favorite person to interview, by the way?
You know, I have been so lucky, and I've talked to just so many, I'll say, people that I admired growing up. So I've been really lucky, but probably my favorite interview was I got a chance to interview Ed Asner, and it was and he sang. My wife and I had met him a few years back. He came through doing a play, and she's on the board at the local theater, so we got a chance to spend a little time with him. Yeah. Well, then I contacted his people to see if I could interview him. He said yes. Well, he got on, and he remembered her. So he asked immediately, "Where's Emily?" And I was like, "Well, she's working."
Wow.
He could. Since she couldn't come on the show, so he sang her a song, and the name of the song was Emily. He sang the song, and that was probably my favorite. That was just.
What a special man! I actually did a tiny little movie, and he was in part of it. Going back years ago, it was a favor for a friend, and he was kind of doing it as a favor as well. And so I've been in a movie with Ed Asner, actually.
See?
And I mean, we didn't actually do a scene together, but I'm such a fan of his. I actually had him on my Instagram a couple days ago for, he's doing something through his
foundation.
His foundation. Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a Christmas story reading on
A Wonderful Life, isn't it?
A Wonderful Life. That's it. Yeah. Oh, it's got a heck of a cast in that.
They're a hell of a cast, and the whole reading is coming together. And my friend Dan Coe, who's an event planner and has worked for these studios and all these people over the years, has put that whole thing together as well for Ed. And the thing that Ed was reading on my Instagram was something that my dear, like literally my best friend, wrote and put together and stuff. So small world. Yeah.
All right. So now I got to tell you my other Ed Asner story.
Yeah.
People listen to the podcast are probably tired of hearing it, but it's a big deal for me. So we're producing a audio drama, and it's about true stories, like heartwarming stories around the pandemic. So a good friend of ours wrote it, and we've been helping with the casting. We're going to show it on the podcast. Well, one of the stories is mine. So my day job is in a hospital here locally, and so I passed on the story, and the writer wrote that in, and then asked me to basically play myself, which is you think would be easy. It's not easy. I mean, it's myself. It's my words. It was still really, really hard. So, but then she cast as the other person in the little scene was Ed Asner. She cast Ed Asner. So I'm thinking we're doing a Zoom reading so they can record my part. And I get on there and Ed Asner's on there to read with me, opposite me.
Oh
And
my gosh.
oh my gosh, I was a nervous wreck, but it actually helped me because he was so good. I mean, he's such a good actor, and like I have to get emotional in the scene, and he was such a good actor that he made me emotional. You know, just it was so believable. So he actually helped me. So that's my one acting experience, and I'm sure my last, but at least I can say it was.
I'm getting emotional even hearing this story right now. Seriously, that is so cool, and so cool that he would come on and do that as well, and just like, what a man. He's cool.
He's amazing. If Species the musical doesn't work out, when we do season 2, it's called The Last Saturday Night. We're calling you. You got to come on.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you what the story was from? Hey, thanks for what are you nursing in the hospital? What are you doing?
No, so I'm what it's no, the nurses and doctors are doing just such an amazing job with all of this. But what I do, my job is, it's called a patient experience manager. So normally when things are normal, I go in and I talk with the patient and just make sure that their stay is going as good as it can go. So anything that they're having trouble with, if it's the environment, cleanliness of the room, the doctors, nurses, anything, I'll fix it. It's been a little more difficult since this stuff hit, because they're limiting the amount of time and people that can be in the rooms. But so the story was about me helping this older Korean War vet. He got lost in the hospital, and I was just helping him find his wife's room. And so I got to lead him to his room. They've been together since he got back from Korea, and it was just a really lovely story. So that was the story.
What a cool job! What an interesting job you have. That's so beautiful. I love that. Wow.
I know, and that's the day job, and then at night I get to do this.
Gosh, you living the life.
I tell you, living the life.
It's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool. Reaching a lot of people in a lot of different ways. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is when your movies from the 90s were really hitting, Species and the others. I was a comic book owner, just got out of college. I had a comic book store. It kind of helped me get through college, and so I was running a comic book store. So we would gather. There wasn't an internet back then, so we would gather in a comic book store and we would talk about all the science fiction movies or whatever it was that we were all into. And Species, that was a hot item. So we spent a lot of time, dissecting that movie and just having a blast with it. So I missed those days.
Yeah. That
was, when my son came and said, "Hey Dad, I want to do a podcast, but I'm having trouble finding anybody that'll be consistent." I was like, I'm in, I'll do it. Just so we could have that chance to talk about things.
Oh, how cool. And you do it with your son, and to bond over that is so cool. Amazing.
But then it's kind of led to doing interviews as well. And that has been awesome.
That's so cool. Amazing.
If you had to interview somebody, if you had to
Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell. Yeah.
Don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, that was so quick. Why?
I've been a huge Joni Mitchell fan my whole life. I think her writing is so inspiring. I think her story is really interesting. She's Canadian. She came by way of Canada and all of that, and down to the States, and but she's just one of the best songwriters of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
I have zero kind of star weird thing, whatever. I live in LA, right? You see people all the time.
Yeah.
I've been in movies with big stars. I see them walking down the street or at the friggin' dry cleaner, whatever. LA.
You're a big star. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's so funny if somebody reacts to me like I don't even think in those terms. You know what I mean? It's just like cracks me up. But I will say I was up at Beverly Glen Center, which is an area of LA, an area that I used to live in. And I was up there, and Joni Mitchell was in this little shop that I go to all the time, that I used to go to all the time. And I was with this French friend of mine, and she goes, "Oh, look, it's Joni Mitchell in this shop." And I was like, what? And she goes, "The singer." But I was like, Oh my God. Oh my God. It's
That's
Joni.
awesome.
And I went into what you see when you have those fans that start shaking and crying when they
Oh
see
yeah.
movies, back in the day. I literally was shaking. I had like tears. And she was like, go say hi to her, go say hi. And I was like, no, I can't. I eventually said hi to her. I said, I just want you to know I'm an enormous fan of yours. And you're incredible and blah, blah, blah. And I just did the whole fangirled out thing. And, about a little while later, it's a small sort of center up there. And a little while later, she was sitting with this man that I'd known and seen up there because it was my local hang, So I knew this man. And he turns out he's really good friends with her. And he invites me to come and sit at the table with them.
Oh, wow.
Opportunity of a lifetime. He knows me. He's introducing me as this actress, but this is a friend of mine, Natasha. She's an actress too. And Joni's like, oh, nice. So sweet. Sit with us. She says, sit with us. I was so afraid I couldn't speak properly that I refused the invite because I couldn't talk normally. I was like so starstruck. So if I had the opportunity, it would be Joni Mitchell. I would love to pick her brain about her life, her lovers, her experience, her regrets, if any, all of the above. I would just love to. I would love.
Yeah,
to.
what a great conversation that would be.
And she's not really well health-wise too. So yeah, I'm hoping she stays healthy. But yeah, that she'd be on the top of my list.
That's a great one. That's a great one. I would love to speak with William Shatner, Patrick Stewart. Those are big ones for me.
You like Star Trek?
I like Star Trek. I would have said Adam West. I did get a chance to meet him at one point, but never really sit down and speak with him.
Names from I'm not great. I'm just the worst person, actor, film buff. I know nobody.
Yeah.
I never know anyone's names.
Well, and then the big one for us, we try to hit as many West Virginia actors as we can because there's not a ton of them. But the big one for us would be Jennifer Garner.
She's from West Virginia?
She's from right here, just locally.
Nice.
But my persistence has not paid off yet.
That's why she's got that vibe where she's just sweet and cool and down to earth. Yeah. And, that's exactly why she has that reputation.
She's one we would, so she's listening, Jennifer.
Jennifer, come on, throw them a bone. Hometown stuff here.
Yeah, hometown. We could do it in person.
Yes.
She's here all the time too. She comes her family's still here, but
right.
So that's one I would love to.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
You never know. It could happen.
Never know.
I never thought I'd be talking with you, and here I am.
400 emails later, and here we are. Oh, it's so fun.
So when you did the whole 9 yards, I think that was one of the first ones I'd seen you do comedy, and you were great. You were great in both those movies, actually. But that was such a fun. It was like a date movie. It was just really fun. I remember going to the theater, and getting the popcorn, hanging out. It was just a good movie.
I couldn't agree more. I actually saw it on TV the other day. I never watch my own stuff. I literally have seen Species in the theater and then seen clips like flipping through the channels. Yeah. But the other day, the whole 9 yards was on my TV, and I had nothing going on, nothing to do, was on the couch already looking for something to watch. I was about halfway through the film and I was like, I'm going to tune in for a little while. This is actually really good. Still holds up, still funny, still a great cast, still love watching.
Well, that's what I was going to ask if it held up. I know it does, but I wanted to see it.
I thought it was still really a lot of fun. Yeah, it was super fun to watch. That was one of those ones I went into the screening into the theater, and I was like sitting down with my popcorn and the other cast members, and I was like, wow, this is fun. This is fun.
It was just a fun movie.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of watching myself on camera, but all the bits that I wasn't in was great.
I think that's funny. A lot of actors are like that. Nobody watches their own stuff. I'd be the exact opposite. I would constantly be watching myself.
Some are very, very specific about watching. Like I work with actors and we help each other out doing various things or whatever. And some of them, I'm friends with a couple of really good actors that do absolutely pick it apart, you know, and can remove themselves from it so much that they can watch it from a director's standpoint or whatever. Every time I see myself doing or saying anything, I'm just picking apart how I'm what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. My mouth moves funny when I do that. You know, I just pick it apart so much. And the last thing you want to be is like really hyper aware of what you're doing when you're an actor, right? You want to like lose that and forget about that. So if I'm watching it and it's making me more aware of it, it's probably not going to help the actual scene at all. So I try to avoid it.
Brett's like that. He refuses to watch or listen to any of these podcasts. And I always listen or watch if I can, but because I just want to try to improve. So I'm trying to get better. He said, Dad, I've got this. I don't need to. He's like, it's not going to get any better. So I was like, okay. The confidence of youth.
Yes. The fearlessness and confidence of youth. No kidding. Yeah.
So you've worked with so many great people. Who's the best? Who's the best person that you have worked with over all these years?
The best actor I've worked with probably would be Donald Sutherland. I worked with him on a show called Commander in Chief, and he was so phenomenal to watch that I often found myself not even in the scene with him anymore. I was just like watching this, like, you know, actor schooling me in acting. I was just like, wow.
Have you seen him? He's in the Undoing, I think.
I just watched the finale of it last night. Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Oh, she's amazing in that.
Phenomenal. He's just such an incredible actor. And so he's right up there. I mean, I've worked with some other people like the guy that I worked with in Eli Stone. Oh my God, Johnny Lee Miller. I can't believe I just spaced
Johnny Lee Miller. He's really good.
Phenomenal actor. I would go to work with him and he'd be doing this American accent playing this lawyer, and then I'd forget on the weekends when I'd see him or we'd do something with the cast and oh yeah, he's this like Brit and he's like tattooed up and I would literally forget he was the same person. It was like, you know, all week he'd be this character, Eli Stone, and then on the weekends I'd be like, oh my God, that's right, Johnny is not that guy. You know, he's a great actor too, very, very good. And then, you know, I've worked with some cool actors throughout, you know, lots of
so many. You've been on so many different things. She Spy, we loved that one when it was out.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good show.
That was a lot of fun to do. Yeah. Kristen Miller and Natasha Williams. I'm still friendly with the two, my co-spies. Still friendly with them, but yeah, no, we had a great time doing that show. We had a really good time.
That was kind of it was funny because that period of time, spies were hot. There was just a lot of spies on TV, a lot of spy shows. I remember, I think Chuck was around that same area, and just it had different shows around spies. I don't. Hollywood do that sometimes. It kind of goes to different genres, and
absolutely, they do that. So a lot. It's like suddenly there's 2 movies coming out about the same thing, and suddenly there's 2 TV shows about the exact same character. It's so funny. It's like they're in competition to get it out first or something, and then.
And next thing you know, there's a whole bunch. But yours was the best. Yours was the best.
Oh, thank you.
No contest.
Oh, thanks. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I agree. Damn it.
I wanted to ask you about, because I always thought the cast for now it's I'm slipping. Ghost of Mars. I always thought the cast was so good, but the movie didn't quite do as well as it should. And I always wanted to ask you about that because that was such a good cast. And you know, what was your feelings on that movie when you did it, after it was done?
Well, first of all, I got called in kind of late on that one. You know, I replaced Courtney Love in that film. So I was called in last minute to star in that. When I read it, what's that?
You were terrific in it. There was some good acting jobs in the movie. I just the movie itself didn't do as well as
I mean, when I read the script, when John Carpenter reached out to me and was like, "Oh, great idea," because I actually got that movie through the father of my children, who was already hired on it with Courtney Love. So Liam Waite, and he, I guess once they lost Courtney or whatever happened with Courtney, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, there was all a little undercover as to what was going on there. But he had said, my girlfriend is an actress, and John was like, who's your girlfriend? And then was like, oh my God, great idea. Let's do that. Let's use her. Perfect. So it happened really, really quickly.
That's awesome.
And then I read the script, and they sent me the script, and I read the script, and I went, huh? What? I'm not a sci-fi person as it is, right? So now if you add sci-fi and you add it
you
to
do a lot of sci-fi though.
I know, because what happens in Hollywood is like you get known for something, and then they're like, then you're the sci-fi girl. I do like sci-fi, but I like more psychological stuff, more of that, less of the CGI or the effects and stuff, and more of the psychological impact of things. I like that kind of stuff more. But but anyway, so I read it and I was like, I don't get it at all, but I mean, I need the job, and let's do this thing. And it's John Carpenter. John Carpenter is so cool, and he produces and writes and, does the music, and he just does it all. And I love the idea of working with him. And they built this set out in New Mexico, this Mars set that was so massive. It was literally the size of a town. It was huge, 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 huge. So they really put so much into it, and you just go along for the ride at that point. You're doing your best. I'm doing the training. I'm doing the whole, martial arts training and shooting training and all of this kind of stuff. But because it's not my world, I didn't really know. And there are people that absolutely just go nuts for that movie. They love it so much.
I know that's what I was going to ask you. It has kind of a cult following, but it just never kind of gained it didn't do as well as I think we're hoping for. Yeah,
I know, especially with John Carpenter, who's got such a great audience.
Right, John Carpenter, great cast. Kind of a built-in cult following for it. You think that would be a huge hit?
Yeah. Joanna Cassidy, Cube, Ice Cube.
Yeah, Ice Cube. Remember Joanna Cassidy was in that?
The first day I was on set, I didn't know what to call Ice Cube. What do you call somebody whose name is Ice Cube? You know what I mean? It's like
calling.
Well, I remember remember the first day being on set, and we're like in our chairs, and it's like we've met basically at one point. And I was like, is it Ice or is it Mr. Cube, or what would you prefer? Nah, Cube. He was like, it's Cube. I was like, okay, cool. Got it. Just want to make sure. It's like, he's such a charming guy. But he literally called me lady the entire movie. We worked together for 3 months. It was so comical. Hey, lady. Hey, lady. It was never Natasha, never my name, never my character name. Hey, lady. I was like, I'm glad I worked so hard to make sure I knew what to call him.
Yeah, that's right.
The whole time.
Yeah, you couldn't get away with anything. Pam Grier was in that movie.
Pam Grier. Oh, I love Pam Grier. Yeah, so cool.
Such a cool cast. I don't know. And I loved you in Jason and the Argonauts.
I played Hypsipyle. Yeah, I went back to look at that the other day, actually.
Yeah, you were good.
Curiosity. Yeah. Thank you. That was fun.
That was really good. The South Park episode. I always thought that was funny that you were
brilliant.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Brilliant. Yeah. I played Ms. Ellen. That's right. Like when I think it was when Ellen DeGeneres was just coming out as gay, and I think that's why they used the character's name Ellen. Yeah.
Ellen. Yeah. I think you're probably right. And then in the credits it just says Species Girl or something like
that. The chick from
Species. That was it.
They asked me if they could use that as my credit, and I was like, that's hysterical and perfect. That's funny. So yes, of course.
Pretty good. That's one of those you have to do. You have to do South Park or The Simpsons, or if you get a chance, you got to do those.
Yeah. I mean, at the time that I did South Park, they weren't really having a lot of people on. They weren't having a lot of guest stars. I think, celebrity voices or whatever. They hadn't done it a lot. I think it was literally me and George Clooney and maybe one other person or something at the time. And really what I'd heard is the reason they wanted to have me on as a voice at all is just because one of them had a crush on me or something at the time. I didn't even know the show. I didn't even really know the show that well, to be honest with you, at all. I almost canceled on the day because I was like, what is this voiceover thing that I'm doing? What? It was so funny. It was just, yeah.
I know that feeling. I worried. I was like, day of, she might get cold.
You were like, is she going to show up or not?
Yeah, I was worried.
Today?
I was worried.
Oh, you emailed me yesterday. No, once I commit to something, I'm
See,
I'm on it.
see,
I'm on it.
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Well, you're a professional.
Yeah, I'm a professional for sure. For sure.
So I know we got to wrap up soon, but but I got a couple things.
Yeah.
Just on this will be as serious as we ever get on this show. So, but nothing too bad. I know that you went through some of the things with the Me Too movement. And I'm just curious. I was just curious if you have seen a change over the last few years, in Hollywood and the way that especially female actors are being treated.
I would say there is probably a change now. I think it's still relatively new. I think
right.
that I mean, it's only 2017. I think that everybody
it's just been a couple years.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. One of those years, pretty much nobody's been working, right? This past year. So
that's right. That's right.
I am thinking, I do think there's a difference though. I'm super proud of coming out. I'm proud that that there is a change happening. I mean, this is one of those things where women have been in this business for so long, and you feel like you just got to get on board with the with the male thing, right? Because it's the male humor, and you're working with men, and of course, you become a little more not laid back, but you want to get your work done and be cool with what is, right? Be cool with and not make a big deal about everything. And I never did. I mean, I can be one of the guys. I can be as cool.
Sure.
But when it's taken to a level, to the nth degree, that's a whole different thing. And so I'm really proud that I came out about it. I'm proud that the business is changing. I'm proud that people are becoming more aware. The conversations I've had with men and male producers and men that I've worked with that are like questioning what they've done, how they behaved, and myself too, by the way. Everybody. It's not only the men. It's like you question everybody. Like, is this appropriate? Just because we're in the creative world, was it cool to say this or do this or whatever? And just to be more aware, because not everybody's comfortable all the time. I heard one guy said, yeah, but I mean, the women laughed when I made those jokes, and one woman brought to his attention, what else was she going to do? Like, well, of course she laughed.
Right.
And some of them probably have a great sense of humor about it, and some are really uncomfortable. So I've been in situations with young girls before that felt really, really uncomfortable, where I've had to stand up for them, either with sound people or a producer or a this or a that, where I'm like, no, you stand up for I'm going to say something. I'm not allowing this to go down this way. And beyond that, you're hired. You're hired for your talent. You're hired and you're here. You can stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. So I think it's really important to change the culture in that way,
Yeah, of course.
But look, we're all learning all the time. And so I, like everybody else, I'm learning as well, right? It's like the Black Lives Matters thing. I just feel like, you're constantly learning. I always thought I was super aware and understanding and whatever, but during that whole this recent process of the whole Black Lives Matter, I feel like I learned so much.
Yeah, me too.
I've never ever thought of myself as racist or prejudiced or any of those things, and it's like, wow, man, I had a lot to learn and still have a lot to learn, because when something's not your personal experience, it's so hard to understand it fully. So it's so hard to understand a woman's experience on a set, being a young girl or a young woman or whatever. It's hard to understand them unless you've been there. So I think the conversations are super important to have. And
I think for me, just the awareness that you're unaware is a step.
Yes.
And just trying to empathize or to put yourself in someone else's position, even if you don't get it right, at least that's a step, and we have to be better off from that, and hopefully it'll grow from there. Who knows, 10 years from now, who knows where we'll be.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Natasha, this has been just a highlight for me. Move over Ed Asner. Got a new favorite.
No, don't take that away from Ed. I don't even want this.
It's too late. It's done.
I didn't sing to you. I didn't sing to your wife. I did nothing.
Yes, but Species the musical.
I know.
That's when
we're working on that. We're working on it.
Before you go, do you have anything? I know it's been slow. Hopefully it picks up for everybody soon, but anything upcoming that we can look forward to? Anything you have working other than your secret project that you have to come back on for?
I have a couple secret projects. I'm actually working on a Christmas movie right now too. Which
Oh
I'm
my
super
gosh.
excited about.
Yeah.
I'm not filming it. I'm actually working on writing and producing it. So
I meant to ask you, have you ever tried your hand at writing?
So writing, I would say, is not my forte, but ideas and story ideas. So I'm working with a writer, but it's our ideas combined.
We need more Christmas movies.
I know. I mean, you might be sarcastic, but I mean,
I'm not. I'm serious.
There are never too many in my book because I'll sit down for the next month right now and I'll be watching like 2 or 3 a day. I love it.
My daughter, as soon as Thanksgiving's over, the Christmas movies are coming on. And
that's me.
And that's just become a thing. We watch all of them. Most of them are pretty good. I mean, some of them can be kind of,
most of them are actually terrible, but I still love them.
Right. Well, okay. Yes. They're terribly good. I'll say that.
Something about them. I mean, I've been in them too with like snow that's made out of foam or like, it's, but there's something. I'd love to see you
write one though. I'd watch that.
Well, the thing that I'm working on is, some of the dialogue will be written by me. A lot of the story is going to be mine. I just can't claim that I've written the entire thing when I'm really not writing the entire thing. So
that's right. Okay.
I'm writing it with a writer, but, so yeah, I'm excited about that. I did a really cool project at the end of last year called, this game's called Murder, which is a really strange artsy film by a director called Adam Sherman, who's done some other interesting things called, he's done a movie called Crazy Eyes and a few other cool projects. He's really visually such an interesting director. And so I'm excited to see that. It's out there. It's a bit out there. Nice. I did another film. What's that called again? I never remember the titles of them. That's the problem. Did another film last year called Blindsided, kind of an action thriller-y type vibe. That'll be coming out. I'm sure.
I did see that. Yeah. When does that one coming out? Is that?
I think they were finishing everything up. Finishing up the sound and the. It's. And then nowadays, obviously, nothing will be out in theaters. It'll all be streaming. But I'm assuming sometime in 2021, soon. In the next few couple months.
I thought that one looked interesting.
Yeah. And then I did a really sweet family movie that I was also a producer on as well, called Against the Wild. And it's the 3rd installment or the 2nd installment. And it's a family adventure movie. I did the first one. The first one did really well years ago. And so this is kind of the 3rd, but kind of the 2nd. It's hard to explain, but so that'll be coming out sometime this coming year as well. So those are the things.
I've got grandkids. We need a family movie.
You have grandkids?
3.
What?
Yeah, they all happened in the last year though. They're still pretty young.
Oh my! Did all 3 of them come at the same time or what?
Pretty close. So we've got one that's 19 months, one that is just turning a year, and then one that's 7 months. So they're.
How many kids do you have?
4.
Oh, you have 4 kids? Wow. Busy guy.
19 to 26.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
I have a 19-year-old and a 22-year-old as well.
Oh,
no grandkids yet. And they better not make me a grandmother yet either.
Well, I'll say
only for my own vanity.
I know. I had a hard time with that too, but you get over it. It's worth it.
You get over it, right?
When the time's right, though. No rush.
When the time's right. Well, they're in no hurry. They better not.
That's right. Where can our viewers, our listeners find you on social media?
I am on Instagram at Natasha.Henstridge or Natasha Henstridge. No blue check on mine, even though that's a verified account is when you have a blue check.
What in the world? Come on.
They will not verify me for some reason. And it drives me crazy. There's so many fake accounts out there. For some reason, they won't verify me. And I think it's because I don't have a Facebook page and they're owned by Facebook. And I'm not on Facebook. And I think they just refuse to verify me because of it.
We'll put you a page on there.
I know, but
there you go. Just holler at me. I'll run it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you don't have anything else going on with
I got
your
nothing going
4
on.
kids and
Throw
your
some
3
stuff out there.
grandkids and your 2 jobs and your wife.
Yeah, nothing going on. We'll run that.
Oh,
You
funny.
just put you a little page and you put a post up every, few months and there you go. Verified.
Yeah, maybe that would be maybe that's something. I got to do something. Jeez.
So before you go, this will be my last one. So and I don't want to put any pressure on you, but I already did say this was my favorite interview. So, I watched a lot of, you've been on so many talk shows. I watched a episode with Conan the other day. I've seen you on all these shows through the years.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your favorite?
Oh,
I'll give you a hint. You may be talking with him now.
Yes.
But no pressure.
That's right. Best interview yet. Right here, right now.
I didn't want to put you on the spot, but
you nailed it. I didn't want to do that to all the other interviewers, but you know what?
No.
There's no point in hiding it anymore. Yes.
No, heck with that Conan guy.
Greg Kinnear. I mean, not Greg Kinnear. Oh, who's the Scottish one? Oh, I loved him so much too.
Oh, my mother loved him. What? It'll come to me, but yeah, she loved. He was on it was Craig something, wasn't it?
Craig Kilborn.
Yeah.
Love Craig Kilborn. Love. There's so many. They're all fun.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Letterman.
Just okay.
You can't beat Dave Letterman though, too.
No.
What was really fun about being on Dave Letterman's show is that you do these pre-interviews for these night shows, right? You do all these pre-interviews and they ask you a million questions. And what happens is the people are normally glazed over and they're waiting for their joke opportunity, right? They're really not present with you at all, except for Dave Letterman. Completely off script, doesn't care what anybody talked about, doesn't care what you're supposed to be talking about. He engages with you and you feel like he's really there with you. And so I still think he's such a genius for that reason alone. Everybody else,
that's my thing. That's what I do.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. You and Dave Letterman have a lot in common. You guys are very similar.
Maybe that's it. We could do it. We could do a show together. He's got the beard now. I couldn't grow that beard. He's got that's an intense beard.
You got some gray in yours though, I think.
Oh yeah. I got not just some.
You could grow a gray beard like Dave. You could be.
Well, I could get but he's got it. It's down. Mine won't grow that way. It just gets thicker and thicker. It goes this way.
It does. Doesn't grow down that way.
Well, Natasha, thank you so much. This has been great. Really appreciate you coming on. And please come back because I'm so interested in this little project that you're working on.
I got a couple, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Both or 3 or whatever you got going on. If you just get bored or just want to hang out, whatever you want.
Just chat. Okay.
The lines are open.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to hit pause. So that was the terrific, the talented Natasha Henstridge. That was a fun one for me. I've been a fan of hers for so long, and she was just so nice and willing to kind of bounce around a little bit with me and actually put up with my ramblings. So that was really terrific. Had a lot of fun with that one. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. As always, really appreciate that you come back week after week. It's not something we take for granted. Please subscribe to us on YouTube under MeisterCon Pod. We're really proud of that. We're trying to grow those numbers to equal what we have reached on the audio side. So we would really appreciate your like and your subscription. Check us out on Facebook under MeisterCon. You can, if you would like to help with the program, we're in the studio, but we're still renovating. We're still furnishing. So we can definitely use the help. If you'd like to do that, it's patreon.com/MeisterCon. We'll give you some free early access and some extra material for your troubles. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye, everybody.